Hello and welcome. My name, if you don't know me, is Charles Araujo. I'm the founder of the Institute for Digital Transformation, and I'm so excited to be here today with this conversation. I'm joined by Dr. Frank Granito, Chief Scientist of the Institute, but more importantly for our conversation today, the principal author of a brand new book that's just about to come out. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So, Frank, first of all, thanks for joining me.
You are welcome, Charlie. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
So, as anyone who has followed the work that the Institute has been doing for almost a decade now, I think,
At least, yeah.
we've been talking about digital transformation for a very long time, and we've produced a ton of content. You, me, a whole bunch of us produced a whole ton of content on this topic. So, you would sort of feel like this is, a horse that has been beaten to death, right? So, why a book? Why do we have this book coming out, and why now?
Well, that's a really great setup, a really great question. And you're right, we have a lot of content. We've produced a lot of content. We've produced some ebooks, some shorter books on the topic. And we were even thinking about producing a book where we would take a bunch of articles and put them into a book of topics. So topic one, articles, topic two, et cetera. Right about when we were thinking about that, we were contacted by a publisher who basically saw all our content and wanted to actually asked us if we wanted to write a book that'll be the first in a series of digital transformation. And they asked us to kind of write an intro or a primer book on digital transformation. So quite conveniently, we were thinking about a book. And so we took that on, and now we are the first book in the series, kind of a primer book, and we call it Digital Transformation Demystified. So people who read this book will be set up to understand what digital transformation is and is not, and then can read the rest of the books in the series, which delve into certain topics. We don't know the other books in the series, but ours is the intro book that sets all that up.
Oh, and here I thought you were going to tell me that you were writing all of them because, you've got nothing else to do.
Yeah, right. That's good.
It actually reminds me of my first book. Same idea. I put some stuff out there, and this publisher reaches out and says, "Hey, these are some great ideas. How about writing a book?" And so that's always a great way to sort of go down that road. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned the book's title is Digital Transformation Demystified. Do you think I could say digital these days? I've said the word digital transformation so many times in my life, and I stumble on it every time. Anyway, the book is titled Digital Transformation Demystified. So why that title? Where did that come from?
Well, actually, we were struggling with the title, and I just came up with it. I don't know how. It just kind of came to me. Sometimes I do my best thinking when you're waking up and you're in this light sleep, and all of a sudden ideas come to you, and all of a sudden it came to me: Digital Transformation Demystified. In other words, just cut through it. There's some mystery, there's some wrong, there's some right. Let's just put it on out there. So as principal author, we have other Institute fellows that have contributed to this book. So in their areas of specialty, but we came up with it because it really came to me in a dream, basically. And we're basically codifying this for industry and practitioners so that we tell you what it is, what it isn't, and you can go from there.
So let's double click into what the book's actually about then. I mean, do you feel that part of the problem is that it is a mystery, that it needs to be demystified? I mean, that seems, especially like we just talked about, we've been talking about this topic for 7 or 10 years now. Does it need to be demystified?
Well, apparently it does, because you still hear a lot of talk about technology, and it really isn't about technology. It's about people, it's about culture, it's about the dynamics and the dynamism and the agility of an organization to move in a digital way. Just as technology moves fast, we need to be able to have the organization move fast and in an agile way. So the principal authors each pick a topic and kind of, as you say, double click into that topic. So for example, I've written the intro and the outro and some conclusion. I've written the chapter, on digital readiness, having a sound base on which to be able to transform. We have other Institute fellows who have contributed to this book, and they speak specifically about digital transformation and your digital culture. digital transformation as it relates to business architecture. In other words, having the programs and processes in place and the architectures in place to be able to transform. And another one of our authors actually delves into the neuroscience of digital transformation, which is really, really kind of interesting. And so there's about 12 chapters in the book that go into each of these topics, and hopefully double click into that and demystify this and give you a well-rounded explanation of what digital transformation is and what it is not. So basically, it's a collaboration of our Institute Fellows' perspectives and real-life experiences. This makes this practical and ultimately demystifies this very, very complex topic.
And I understand you have some really big name, a huge industry luminary that wrote the foreword to the book, I think. Is that right?
Yes, I think his name was Charlie Araujo. If you know him, tell him thank you very much for
So no, in all seriousness, no, it was a pleasure to, of course, write the foreword, and it's a pleasure to see this thing come to life and come to fruition.
Yeah.
And actually, I think what I'm most excited about is that it brings together the work of so many of our Institute Fellows that
Absolutely.
are brilliant minds in their own right and doing important work in different facets of this and bringing that all together. So last question. What do you hope that is the takeaway? Where if somebody buys this book when it comes out later this year and they read it, what do you hope that they're going to actually get out of this?
Well, really great concluding question. What we hope to accomplish is to, in a very light way, codify what digital transformation is. And we're kind of doing that we're about ready to publish a digital transformation manifesto, sort of like an agile manifesto. It's not a standard, but here are the guiding principles. Here's what it is. Here's what it isn't. And hopefully when we demystify it, we can get that solid base for the industry that they would look to the Institute for Digital Transformation for a definition of what digital transformation is, what it isn't, and what are the guiding principles, what are the characteristics of an organization, and what is it about digital transformation that makes it tick. And I do want to also shout out, yes, I am listed as the principal author, but many, many thanks to the Institute Fellows for their collaboration on this book. And it wouldn't have gotten done had not for all that collaboration. And for that, we are really indebted to them.
And if you're watching this, I hope you watch the rest of the series where we're going to have interviews with most, if not all, of the contributing authors, so you can sort of get a little sneak peek into all the different parts that this book is going to cover. So with that, I think we'll wrap it up. Frank, thanks for spending time with me as always, and I hope if you're watching this that you go grab that book and put it to use. Thanks for being with us.